Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. And as Suj isn't here, I suppose it maybe does for both of us. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Ian Parrin. How are you, Ian?
Very good. Thanks, James. Thanks for having me back. Been about a year or so. Good to be back on your pod, mate.
Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for introducing me as well, because I forgot to say my name just in case anyone hasn't been here before. How's your Sky season going, pal?
Not too bad, really, mate. I'm at the best position I've been so far, just up to 1650 this week. And as per Parent strategy, probably more transfers in the bank than most.
Yeah, I'd have guessed that. Now, you're not going to give away the number, are you?
No, but I'll give you a bit of a clue. I'm aiming to be at Overhaul between three quarters and two-thirds left for the second half of the season.
Trying to work that out now. So was it probably about 34-ish, 35 maybe? So
Yeah,
it's probably around now.
34 is halfway in between the two, yeah.
Okay. How was your week this week?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I, t- I took a view on Haaland and brought in Alvarez and captained him.
Okay. So Haaland's not with you.
Not now, no.
Is that squeaky bum if he's fit for Saturday?
If he's fit for Saturday, I'm still not bringing him back.
No, you wouldn't. You
No,
just got to deal with it, haven't you?
absolutely. And if Alvarez is playing, he'll probably be captain.
Yeah. Rest of your players of the week? Anything good in there?
Uh, Nothing great, was there?
I love
Sonny
it.
was all
It's
right.
giving nothing away.
Salah was all right. Sonny was all right. Bit meh, the rest, to be honest.
There's nothing in there we wouldn't expect. Okay, cool.
No,
How many
no.
points?
73.
73. Okay, so we're very
Yeah.
similar this week. 75 for myself. No transfers made. And I didn't make any last Thursday either, when I know there was a few sort of diving back into Tottenham and or Newcastle and stuff like that. It was nothing for me last Thursday. Captain Sonny, so it was a blank, but I had
Yeah.
Jared Bowen's return on the night. It kind of ticking over this week. With Haaland, I decided, okay, I come at peace Saturday night, fine, I'll buy Thiago Silva, was the decision. Because I thought, well, if he plays, that's great. And even if Haaland is back for next Saturday, I thought him at home to Sheffield United, that's really competitive from a captaincy. Because you'd think, like, that's a 10-pointer, quite possibly.
You'd think so, yeah.
So I was quite at ease with that. Obviously, he wasn't in the Chelsea team. So it's
And then
like,
you saw the Chelsea team, yeah?
oh shit, I don't want any of that now. And I already owned Alvarez. So I
Oh,
decided I was
okay.
gonna. I decided I've had him for yonks. I've had the two of them sitting there for ages. So I decided I was going to captain Alvarez anyway. I was quite happy with that. I mean, he was going to play as the 9. So decided just to leave it. I'm thinking maybe Haaland might be my move for say Gross. I think I've been looking at sort of Alvarez to Gross this coming Sunday, for example. But you know what? Let me just give myself a little bit more space here because
It's probably a good idea.
I just felt if I made the transfer and he was available, I get it from your perspective. You thought I'm getting the best captain in for Sunday just gone.
Two game and
Yeah,
for Saturday
I
coming, yeah.
get it. My take was if I any transfer I make here, if Haaland's back on Saturday, that's a failure for me.
Yeah,
That was
quite
my take.
probably, yeah.
So I thought, and I'm always one. If someone's get injured, I don't piss about of it. They're gone. Let's move it on. Let's take a couple of fixtures. If Haaland had been playing, if City's fixture had been the Sunday this week, no doubt I would have done something. But I thought I'm not sure I'm going to do that because Silver was the one I thought, well, that's well competitive. So I decided to let it go. If he's unavailable at the weekend, he might even stay. It might not make sense, but he might just stay for me because it's looking around for something to think, well, what's going to be good enough here that's going to make me go, right, you're worth the in between here. Plus, I'm losing the two captaincy potentially on the two. It'll be two transfers to move Haaland in and out. Whereas
It
if I
would,
leave
yeah.
it,
And probably somebody you're not going to captain in the interim.
I'm well covered for captaincy, so I don't particularly need it. So unless he's ruled out for the rest, if Pep was to say, oh, he's 2 to 3 weeks, we don't know, then he's a sell, quite clear.
Yeah.
But even if it's always just missed Saturday, he's going to play in Saudi Arabia. I might keep him actually because I know I'm definitely going to want him back. Plus, I've used more than you from a
Well,
transfer
that's the
perspective.
other thing that I looked at for me. I knew that I'd have more than most, and it's like opportunity. I mean,
Yeah,
Alvarez, he played all right on Sunday, but I think their better fixture of the pair is definitely the one upcoming on Saturday. Home game against Palace, who are losing players left, right, and centre. And it was just a view on what Pep said. It was the week by week, followed by day. I'm thinking if he's putting weeks first, it's obviously not a couple of days.
yeah. I mean, my take is he's probably, I've got no intel that he's probably 50-50 for Saturday as it
Yeah,
stands. I'd imagine he'd be desperate to play in that Club World Cup. So I
absolutely.
would figure that he does. But then there's also that. So if they push him in that, does he even play Everton and Sheffield United? I get that perspective of it. And the other thing with Silva was I was thinking, well, if I don't go back, Silva covers Haaland great for those last two City games as well.
Yeah, because they
And
play on the
so,
same day.
yeah, and so I don't feel as comfortable about that either. If I'd have seen Silva at home to Palace or away at Luton, I think was at least his passing tiers
Yeah,
in both
and
of
a
them.
fair
That
chance of a clean sheet, even with their bad defending at the
yeah,
minute.
so I was even thinking on Sunday morning, I was thinking I might even just let him go, keep Alvarez as my City option in case
Yeah,
I need it, and just go with the Chelsea option because that would have taken me up to 3 Chelsea. Although I'm probably down to 1 Chelsea now because of Robert
yeah,
Sanchez.
I'm in that
We
boat as
don't
well.
know,
Yeah,
like with a lot of goalkeepers at the moment, we don't quite know where we stand. I took 4 points off the bugger at the weekend, 6 for Saliba, 5 for Porro. Didn't captain Heung-Min Son, which I think ordinarily a lot of us probably would have done against a fatigued Newcastle because Haaland was out, but when I don't want to take that chance because I don't know if he's going to play.
you didn't know he was going to play. That was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, otherwise that would have been a real shift for people this week. I don't think many ended up captaining him in the end. Captain Salah Saturday for the 22, 5 Bowen. I captained Alvarez as well Sunday. Ollie Watkins blank. Cole Palmer 3-pointer. Shots here. Little bonus I didn't know I had there. He's on 4 yellows now. And that's a problem, isn't it?
And that's squeaky for Christmas Eve, isn't
So I've literally gone. It's madness.
it?
Up Sunday morning, I think I'm going to have 3 Chelsea here. So now being in a position, I might go into that Wolves game with none.
Yeah. And what would you do there?
Well, I'd have to get signed in, but it's also made me think if Sanchez is a big problem, looking at the fixtures, we should probably talk about it now in terms of the goalkeeper situation. It's not just Sanchez, a few others. Maybe people might dive on Dubravka last
Dubravka, yeah.
Thursday, for example, who's possibly a doubt for Newcastle's
Yeah.
Champions League game. Anyone who still had Johnston, maybe. I don't think there'd
He
be
went off
many,
injured,
but
didn't he?
that's another one. And you look at the ones you think I want to cover. You think I could cover. I get me captaincy cover here, maybe. So you start feeling like West Ham, Brighton. The Areola's another one
Yeah.
injured.
You don't know which Brighton keeper's going to
But
play.
you just forget the two of them. That's impossible. Vicario, I think, would have been one you'd go, I'd do it Sunday, Friday. I don't really need it. But maybe if you just had one Tottenham and you knew Sanchez was definitely out, I think Tottenham's 4 fixtures across the 4 is not too bad. The one that
Yeah.
might cover me for captaincy is bloody Jose Sarr.
Yeah.
And Wolves' 4 games aren't terrible. West Ham, Chelsea, Brentford, Everton.
And you're getting the 5th game if you include a captaincy, of course.
I don't actually know what solutions can't because I don't think anybody has a great set of 4 fixtures. I am
Because
in a
nobody's got
blessed.
great 4, no.
I am blessed in the sense everybody's affordable for me. I've got plenty of money, and whether I keep Haaland or not, part of the plan now. I'm just going to have excess cash. It is what it is. Makes you think I should just go Alisson Sunday.
Yeah, Man United, Arsenal, Burnley, Newcastle.
It's not great, but it's 3 home games and the easiest games
Yeah,
away.
yeah, true. You know he's going to play them all as well, and they are improving.
I don't need that cover for the captaincy. Say something happened to Salah at the end. I've got Shimikas
Yeah,
as well, who I probably
okay.
am not moving on, so I don't need it from that perspective.
Yeah, my
Edison's
issue.
like a no-go
Oh,
for me.
no. Well, there's a game less for a start.
Yeah.
My issue with Sarks, I think he's the best if he got 5 matches. I can't afford him if I want to get Haaland back.
Oh, wow. So you're looking in the basement, really, if you need to
Uh,
replace him.
yeah, the one that I was looking at the fixtures, would be Bournemouth, Neto.
Neto. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah. But At least we get to see Sanchez for Saturday.
Is it something psychological in that? Let's just say Sanchez. If Pochettino said Sanchez out 2 to 3 weeks, or we're not sure, he's probably got to go, hasn't he? I think
You've got to make a move, haven't you? I mean, even if you only get 8 for appearances, say you get 1 clean sheet, that takes you up to 15. It's worth a go, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'd think that's my point in say Alisson. I think 3 home games. I bet there's something.
You'd think so. It normally gets a save as well, don't it?
And there'll be save tiers in some of them as well, I'm thinking. But it is interesting. Ordinarily, when we make goalkeeper changes, we start looking at, oh, yeah, we've got that Wolves-Chelsea single game day and things like that. And it just feels wrong.
Yes, agreed.
It feels wrong making a transfer for a goalkeeper here.
I think I'm on my 4th this season. So I started off with Turner to cover off.
Yes, you had him for ages, didn't you?
I had him right at the start because that
he's
got
back
Watkins
fit,
in.
You can have him back.
He's not coming back. He's not coming back for me. Forest are terrible now, aren't they?
Don't say that when you're about to play my team. Thank you, mate.
You'll beat them. Sunny captain Friday, mate.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. Yeah, it's not brilliant options. Like I like Leno as a really good option in this, and you think, oh, Burnley and Bournemouth's in there, that's all right. But you diving straight into Newcastle away and then you finish at Arsenal at home across 4 feet. Don't feel great.
It's not enough there, really, is it? I don't think.
Nah.
Anybody that needs it, I would go for Salah, just because the 5th fixture, if you're captaincy. Lucky penalty save against Chelsea.
You can't go for Petrovic either.
You're not listed?
You ain't got a price yet, mate.
So some of these guys that run this game do need a bit of education, don't they?
But ironically, I mean, they couldn't price him higher than Sanchez, could they? Really,
no, it's impossible.
If they said hypothetically Sanchez is out for a month, and you know that Overhaul lands and Chelsea's last game is the 30th, so they can't buy another goalkeeper in between. That's the solution, isn't it? Really, it's just go Petrovic.
Yeah, could do. Yeah, if you know he's going to play.
So, can someone start out in Sky and saying, "Look, he got on the pitch at the weekend"? Can
we get him listed? Even if they give him a picture,
just tell them whatever they can price him the same as Sanchez at 6.6. Like, we don't care. Just put him in the game, because I think that's the right solution. Actually,
what's Poch like for giving out information? That's the key, isn't it?
Well, Chelsea are really good, actually, because Chelsea always list their injuries on their website, actually.
Okay.
And they haven't had any yet this season where they've said, they've listed a player as absent on the website and suddenly they've rocked up on a Saturday. That's not happened yet. So
we should get good intel then.
Yeah, I think they'll be honest about, listen, they could say things like rehabilitation and God knows what that means. But if they list him on the website, he won't play on Saturday.
Fair enough.
Unless they want to hide it, but they haven't lied about it yet. In fairness, I think that would just be the obvious one for me. It's just Petrovic, but I need a price. Right, have you on? We can't not talk about fixtures. There's a couple of things. So we're pre-recording this. We're pre-recording this on Tuesday, and I don't want to do too much talk after Overhaul because it's a bit of a nonsense. And we don't need to think about it now. There's enough to think about. But we've had these midweek fixtures, the end of January, confirmed, and there's nothing for anyone to worry about because on the Tuesday night you got Arsenal at Forest. You'll definitely have Arsenal coverage from the Palace game that they've got the week before. On the Wednesday you've got Haaland. They've got Burnley at home. There's nothing, and I think even Thursday, the 1st, you think, oh shit, I need a United player at Wolves, but actually like West Ham at home to Bournemouth, Jared Bowen, absolutely fine. And Bowen's got Sheffield United away in the split week before, so I think he'll be really popular in any case. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about from a captaincy perspective there.
No.
What I don't understand though, Ian, and I hope you're going to give me the answer because I'm fascinated. They've announced these fixtures with 3 that can provisionally move. And 7 of them have been picked up by BT. 3 of them have not.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Now that's to do with the midweek rounds, and BT get 5 of the split weekend, and they're allowed to show 20 fixtures over that weekend and their 2 midweek rounds. So they've picked
Right.
7 for this one at the end of January, start of February, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which means they'll get 8 at the start of April. So you would assume 3 on a Tuesday, 3 on a Wednesday, and 2 on the Thursday. And they'll have them 2 at 7:30 Tuesday, Wednesday, and 2 at 8:15 Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday, no, sorry, try that again. So Tuesday, there'll be 2 games at 7:30 and 1 at 8:15 on the telly. Same on Wednesday. Then on the Thursday, there'll be 1 at 7:30 and 1 at 8:15 to make the 8 fixtures.
And there'll be 2 games not shown live.
Correct.
That is absurd.
Well, if you've got 15 over 10 twice, you can only show 7 and 8, which means 3 don't get shown in one round and 2 in the other. This because they've got 5 of the split weekend.
Were they always due to have 5 in a split weekend?
Yeah, always. And it's all down to the fact that the Premier League couldn't sell the rights properly. That's why Amazon ended up with the 2 other midweek rounds.
That's harsh, though, isn't it? Because, I mean, you could look ahead now to the April fixtures that midweek. Like, I know Tottenham were at West Ham that night. It'd be a repeat of the midweeks that have just gone, isn't it?
Just gone, yeah.
You could nearly predict now, couldn't you, which games they won't pick up. So it could be like Burnley against Wolves, for example. Like Bournemouth against Palace. Probably something like that, isn't it? Or Forest against Fulham.
Yeah.
It'd probably be 2 of those 3 they'll leave out.
Yeah, correct.
And they'll pick up all the big clubs.
Yeah.
So if I was an away fan, if I was a Brighton fan and I was thinking, oh, I probably won't get a ticket for Luton away, and then see it wasn't on the telly, I'd be raging when nearly everyone else is on the telly.
Yeah. That's a fair point. And I mean, we don't do ourselves many favours in this country when it comes to TV coverage, do we? Let's be honest.
I've just thought that these midweek ones now were just sold as like a full package. You've got the lot. And from a selling perspective, normally they go, oh, we've got every game live in midweek. What are they going to do? Oh, we got 7.
They'll just advertise it as we've got matches on every day, 2 matches on every day.
Well, they'll advertise it as we've got all the top 8 or something like that, won't they? Yeah. Subject to whether Brighton are in the league at the time. That is really, really strange. And I didn't know that. Thank you for answering. The one that people probably want your opinion on is what you think's happening with City-Brentford. I think it's probably, will be 100% that it's now not going to be before Overhaul. I feel like it's 100% now.
It should be now. My goodness, no. They've had plenty of time to get that organised. Yeah. I think if Sky want to show it, and they probably do, because if they didn't, it could have been announced as a non-televised game and they could have played it any day they liked, really. I think they'll probably want it towards the end of the season if they can. And there's the 2 weeks FPL weeks 34, 37 that are free for fixtures at the minute. And City have got that one to move, and then a maximum of 2 more, which will be for the FA Cup. Is it quarterfinals and semi-finals?
Yeah.
If they're in both of those, they've got 3 fixtures to move. So 2 will go into the already known blanks, and then they'll slot 1 in either on a FA Cup replay week or.
Yeah, if they stay in the cup, they're gonna have to put the Brentford game or the final weekend in March, which from memory I can't remember who they're due to play that week.
I don't think they can move anything after that because is that not the last international break?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If they make it through the FA Cup 5th round and they still haven't arranged City-Brentford, they're gonna have to put that fixture into City's Champions League spare midweek.
From the last 16. Yeah.
They'll have to do that if that's the case. FA Cup quarter-final weekend. I'm just looking the schedule to play Brighton away. So there's every chance that'll go.
Yeah.
It only needs one to make the quarter-final. Would it have an impact though, Ian, on your thinking after when you're selecting your team after Overhaul in like a consciousness of, well, I need to have a few City here just in case this lands in February, March?
Not that early, no. My one conscious sort of thought ready for Overhaul, so I don't really think about it till we get there, to be honest.
Yeah,
is that we're not going to want Salah, and we're not going to want Son.
Yep.
Because they're going to be toddling off to AFCON and the Asian Cup respectively, but you are going to want them afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking to make a team with those players in, and then the make weights that will move out will be the guys that are going to be for the single days or the captaincy days in January.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
I'll plan it that way.
So you're going Jordan Bayer and leaving 5 million for
It,
Salah, are
it'll be something like that. Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
that
Or
Bur- that
Kaminsky.
that Burnley Luton. Obviously, it could be the Friday or the Monday when we come
Depends
back.
on FA Cup
That,
fixtures, isn't it?
that's correct. Yeah, if either side of a
Yeah,
replay,
yeah.
um,
It gets bunted forward.
yeah, it gets moved to the Friday. Currently, it's scheduled
Yeah,
for the Monday. Now, the Friday's a little bit more useful in the sense that you'll see the team, but actually seeing the team for Chelsea Fulham the next day would probably be more useful for actual overhaul decisions, I would
yeah,
suggest.
yeah.
Burnley Luton, have you got to cover it, or could
Uh,
you just skip it?
you could skip it, but if it's coming straight after Overhaul, it's only one transfer. It's not you're in and out. You're only doing
Yeah,
an out.
but you know you're not keeping that player, don't you? Basically,
Yeah. But
unless
the plan
unless
would be
Burnley
to have
suddenly showed
somebody in
some
place.
form or something.
Yeah, you could. I mean, say forget the Foster striker if he's back and playing, you could
Yeah.
put him in, double captain. I think they'll play City straight afterwards.
Yeah, grim. And Luton's
But
fixtures afterwards,
yeah,
they got Brighton and Newcastle afterwards as well.
I mean, you could skip, but I think with one transfer, it's probably worth a go. To be fair, let's see
Yeah,
what it looks like at Overhaul.
it's going to be keeper, isn't it? I think when we all land
Yeah,
there, we'll be thinking, yeah, keeper, sod it.
get keeper in, and then move on to whoever it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't going to move that onto Salah or Son, though, Ian. You got to,
That's the problem, isn't it? So you might be looking for something else.
yeah, you've got to
Just
bear that.
imagine that £6 million in the bank just so you can bring Salah in for Bayer.
But the thing is, and again, I don't want to talk too much after because we'll obviously cover it again. But in theory, they could miss only one game if they
Depends on how
bombed in the
badly
group
their
stage.
team, yeah,
It's
how badly their
unlikely,
team does.
but they could miss just one game. Now from that,
Korea must be one of the favourites, mustn't they? And Egypt.
yeah, they both will. But I think Egypt are the
Yeah.
favourites actually. I
Right.
think
Okay.
for
Yeah.
AFCON, South Korea certainly will be. It'll be them or Japan. I would have thought.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's unlikely, but I'd certainly in AFCON, it's not unknown for strong teams to go out in the group stage and suddenly have a shock. So it might not be that long. Put it that way. It's probably only what three league
Yeah.
games from
Yeah.
after
You
Overhaul
play.
they miss. I think.
You've got a split weekend, haven't you? Then you've got the FA Cup again. Then you've got this midweek round. Then you're into the first week of February. And I think they're probably due back after that. So, yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's 4 games to miss if they get to the final.
Yeah.
I think quarters or semis would be 3. I think
3.
I've got
Yeah.
that right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit of data learnings from the weekend, which Sid will kill me if I don't mention last Thursday's games because they won one. At least he didn't mention that Fulham wouldn't win 5-0 again on Friday's podcast. But sorry, if you're not following the FPL stuff, he did actually say that.
I saw your clip. It was very funny.
It had to happen, mate. There was a tier 2 passing for Kieran Trippier at Everton last Thursday, and obviously tier 1 for Fabian Schär as well. Shots on target for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, tackles for Gay and Young. Both keepers in that fixture picked up save tiers as they did at White Hart Lane in the Tottenham West Ham game. Emerson tackles the only other tier for West Ham. Bissouma 111 passes. Christian Romero 101, but a yellow card that took him to 3 yellow cards this season. Ben Davis also on tier 2 and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, more Christian Romero in a second. Because moving on to the weekend data, which is as ever nicked brilliantly from FF stuff, he says trying to load the page, which won't load for me. Take a breath, Ian, while the page loads for it, won't you?
That's all right. No worries, mate.
I got the spinning wheel of doom. Passing tiers at Liverpool surprisingly low, considering as well Palace played a good sort of 15 minutes or so with a man short. Van Dijk 90, Trent Alexander-Arnold 72. Might not have made tier 2, I suspect, if not for the red card. Jarell Quansah played centre back, was running at a pass a minute, and Ibrahim Konate basically did the same after he came on. It was a save tier for Alisson. The usual for Lewis Dunk at the weekend, that being no clean sheet, of course. 131 passes completed. There were 106 for Jan-Paul van Heck, who's dirt cheap. And I know has started like the last 6 or so.
Yes, 7.3, isn't he?
We'll come back to Brighton assets in a sec. It was also tier 2 passing for Baleba. Pascal Gross will also speak about shot tier and passing tier as well, and an assist. There was a few tackle tiers from Burnley. And James Trafford, I've been very critical of this season. 10 saves, a number of them very good. He had a good afternoon, actually. Manchester United well beat by Bournemouth. Luke Shaw, who I understand time of recording, and we are recording during Manchester United's Champions League game, which I can tell you, Ian, unless you don't want me to ruin the score for you.
Oh, you'll only ruin it if Manchester United are winning.
Harsh. They're 3-0 up, Ian.
Oh, okay, fair
No, of
enough.
course, no, of course they're not. They're 1-0 down. And Luke Shaw went off injured at half time, which is not going to help them for Sunday at Anfield. He picked up tier 2 passing against Bournemouth. Bruno Fernandes also did. Sofian Amrabat with tier 1. The only outfield Bournemouth player with a tier was Ryan Christie with tackles. Have you given any thoughts to Dominic Solanke, Ian?
Yes. If I'd have kept Haaland and he wasn't playing on Saturday, I think I'd have probably gone for Solanke, in as much as he plays Saturday and Boxing Day, and then you can shift him back to Haaland on the Wednesday, the 27th.
Yeah,
If people want to go that way, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think for me to sell Horn, it's got to be someone like that plays. They've got to play Boxing Day. That's the massive thing. They've got to play Boxing Day, and then obviously City play on the 27th, and you'll see the team.
Yeah.
And you can decide whatever from there as your last transfer, if you will. I mentioned a long time ago, once these fixtures were announced, about moving Alvarez to Solanke on Saturday, if Alvarez wasn't in the team. So therefore, why wouldn't I consider to do that for Haaland? It's something I'll give some thought to if that's the case. But again, I also know there's no captaincy in that.
No. The other way you could look at it, which is something I might consider, is to bring a Liverpool defender in. And then that gives you an alternative if Salah's rested for one of the games, and then you can still move because they play Boxing Day as well at Burnley, and then move on the Wednesday again.
Yeah, I think Van Dijk from that perspective, or Trent, will probably be.
Yeah.
And the good thing with them is, I guess they've got the power to return big for you, such as Van Dijk obviously had a really decent haul at Sheffield United last Wednesday. Talking of which, there's nothing that you want me to speak about from the Sheffield United-Brentford game, so I'm literally just going to skip that. Wolves-Forest would ordinarily be the same, but some surprising passing numbers. Max Kilman, 103. That was the one that I was going to buy, Ian, for the Monday night game. If I ever got round to it, I'd have got something eventually. Craig Dawson and Toti Gomez also hit tier 2 passing, which probably gives you an idea of what some of Tottenham's passing numbers may be on Friday night, particularly as Forest reverted to a back three and had a positive result, but it's not really back three, is it? Let's be honest, it's back
five. Yeah.
For Villa, only tackle tiers for Carlos and McGinn in that excellent victory over Arsenal. Saliba, tier 1 passing and tier 1 tackles, little bit of a bonus at the weekend. Declan Rice, tier 1 passing, tier 2 tackles. Zinchenko also in the tackles. Mikalenko of Everton, he's in the tackles a lot, isn't he? He's like second or third most tackles in the league now, isn't he?
He's getting high up that table of defenders' points as well.
Yeah, he is very, very quietly. But I would also think I've just missed 3 clean sheets for Everton. That's going to end some point soon.
And they won't be like buses round again, will they? Let's be honest.
I think we would maybe now begin to look at him, though, as a potential solution if or when Everton is needed in the future, I would suggest.
Yeah.
That's one that's flagged up as a real potential option. Lots of passing tiers for the Chelsea players, both centre-backs, Badiashile and Disasai tier 2. Also, Casado and Gallagher. Gallagher played deeper than Enzo Fernandez at the weekend. If you're wondering why Gallagher's got more than double the passes of Fernandez, that's the reason why. Gallagher also in the tackles. If Gallagher actually played deeper, it would potentially make him interesting again because you'll get the odd passing, get a few tackles. West Ham had a disaster class at Fulham. There was still a shot tier for Jared Bowen and a tackle tier for James Ward-Prowse. Just the 8 tackles for João Paulinho, another stroll in the park. Willian had a shot tier, but we think he may have an injury. Anthony Robinson tackled here. Over 100 passes for Tom Cairney, who's playing really well at the moment. I'm not advocating that as a Sky choice, but he's playing really well. Tosin Adarabioyo started the last two, and he completed 100 passes. Calvin Bassey, 80. Even Timothy Castagna, 68. They mullered West Ham after a little bit of an awkward opening. Manchester City numbers, I think, surprisingly low against Luton, Ian, in terms of
I
the
saw,
passing.
I saw some of this game. I was impressed by Luton, to be fair.
Yeah. Of the back four, and City did play like a more orthodox back four. Ruben Diaz, 70. Nathan Ake, who partnered him, only 47 passes completed. Vardio and Kyle Walker in the 30s. Kovacic, 79. Rodri, 87. I think a
Yeah.
few were gambling Rodri. There was a yellow card in there as
Another one.
well. Another one. Yeah, we're on 6 now, is he?
Yeah, I
10,
think
10 yellows is what is game week 32 or something. It's
yeah, and
32nd
that's
game, I think.
2-game ban.
Will he hit that at some point? Probably, won't he? Unless he calms down
Probably,
soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's worth bearing in mind after Overhaul, I think. Tottenham numbers in the terms of passing low at the weekend, despite the dominance. There was tackle tiers for Gomeres, Lewis Miley, and Jamal Lascelles. Dubravka made 7 saves. Christian Romero, tier 2 tackles, 5, but only 44 passes
Yeah,
completed.
strange one that, wasn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly though, Ben Davies played really well and he was just short of tier 1. His distribution was really good. And I think that might part explain it. Plus, Bissouma was a lot better. 8 tackles, 1, 64 passes. Pap Sarr was also a bonus for Tottenham. Tackle tier.
Yeah, I thought Tottenham were really good on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to Newcastle, not to kind of repeat Monday's pod, they were obviously out on their feet.
Yeah.
And it was clear. And us bringing in the likes of Richarlison and Sarr just give it a little bit of energy
Fresh legs, isn't it? Yeah.
that Newcastle couldn't do, in fairness.
Yeah,
Son,
Newcastle really could do for their Premier League season. They could do with going out of everything tomorrow. I know they won't want to.
I'm hoping they go through him,
Now to give Tottenham a better chance.
especially in Europa League. I'm in third place and do me as fine. To be honest, in third probably does the double duty, right? Because he'll probably do well in that and it'll help the coefficient. It pulls
Yeah,
double rank because it might help for fifth as well.
yeah. Seville have done us a favour with that today, haven't they?
Villa with a
No,
coefficient.
no, Seville. I think they finished bottom.
Ah, yes. Yes, good shout. Yes, they have gone out, which to the relief of everybody still in the Europa League, I should imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Son Kulusevski, all the shots here. I think a lot of the feedback I guess is relevant in the immediate. He's obviously that Son played on the left. Now, I'd said anybody listened to me last Friday would have heard me say from an FPL perspective, that is not an option if he stays on the left. Q, 2 assists and goal. It should be noted that the goal, however, came when he went back through the middle. And I think he played there to target Kieran Trippier. I don't know if it sticks, but I'll certainly still be captaining him Friday night. Is that your
Yeah,
take, Ian?
yeah, definitely. Best captain by a mile on Friday.
Is it? Romero's a certainty for passing, isn't he?
Yeah. Are they a certainty for a clean sheet though? Forest are better at
No,
home than
no.
away.
Ian, we ain't a certainty for a clean sheet. I'm Sheffield United. I can tell you that now.
Right, there you go then. So Son's your captain.
I think so, yeah. In a game like that, yes. Romero
Yeah.
also, of course, and I completely understand why people would have brought him back last Thursday are now sweating it because he's on 4 yellows again. I mean, got booked in the last 2.
He
And to
should
be
have been
honest,
sent off, really.
exactly took the words out of my mouth. He should have been sent off. And a red card for him would have been a 4-game ban.
4-game ban, yeah.
And he would have missed the 4 games left, and then it would have been Overhaul. If you've bought him, you're lucky.
Yes.
Because he should have been sent off. But take your points, be pleased for it. He will obviously average about 5. I would say if you've only got, say, Romero or Porro for Friday night, I wouldn't.
Yeah, go with whoever it is, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
my
take if you've got 2 players from one team. Players in your team, I like to get the floors. Captains in your team, I like to go for the ceilings.
Yeah, I agree with that philosophy, generally speaking, Ian. Yeah. I can't believe that anyone, there's normally a bit I'd say, would you buy? I can't believe anyone hasn't got anything. Even if it's just Porro or just Romero or just Son, everyone, or even Vicario, everyone. I don't think anyone's walked out Sunday with a problem. And
No.
even with Haaland, surely they'd move to a Tottenham player Sunday if they had nothing at that point, you would think.
Yeah, because you'd be looking ahead for Friday, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I think Sonny would be best if you've got a couple. If you've just got one, stick with that. That'll be absolutely
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
Saturday captaincy, Ian. If Haaland, if he plays, you're going to
Haaland, if he
leave.
plays, yeah, and I'll captain Alvarez. If he doesn't play, who else do I have? Uh, might be Hobson's choice.
You'd be Alvarez
Sanchez,
now, wouldn't you?
yeah, it'll be Alvarez. But if Alvarez doesn't play, I think I'll be on Palmer.
Isn't it? Alvarez will play, wouldn't he?
You would
If
think so.
Haaland doesn't play, Alvarez will play, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Alvarez isn't playing tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they've rested him in case Haaland doesn't make Saturday.
That's what
That
I was
that would
thinking.
be
Yeah, yeah,
the assumption. So I think, yeah, Haaland for me. If not, then Alvarez. And obviously,
yeah,
it is a nice one that we get to see the teams because the
yes,
deadline is 3 o'clock on Saturday. So
yeah,
there's no concern
yeah.
from that perspective.
No TNT game at all this weekend.
If there will be people who obviously went earlier on Silva, particularly, I think he's the one if he plays, you know he's going to hit Parsons here.
Yeah.
Would you go Silva over Alvarez if you had that debate?
If I had the choice,
Yeah,
no, no, I'd go Alvarez. I think
agree.
if Alvarez is playing on his own, I'd definitely go Alvarez. If Alvarez and Haaland are playing, I might be tempted on Silva.
Yeah, I mean, if Alvarez was playing the 10, I'd go Silva, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I would agree with that.
but if Alvarez is the 9, is the central striker
Yeah,
definitively, and Horner's not playing, then I think
yeah.
Alvarez. Are you Salah Sunday, Ian, or are you looking elsewhere?
Nah, Salah.
I mean, that Luke Shaw news only adds to it, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, Maguire went off as well, didn't he?
Is he really?
Apparently so.
No. I checked that. They're
Yeah,
still losing, Ian. There's 2 minutes to go. I don't think the comeback's on. Did Maguire go off as well? Oh my God, he did.
yeah, yeah.
Varane's got off with 10 minutes to go as well. Not flagged as an injury at the moment. But
Oh,
yeah,
dear me.
it's for FPL, if Haaland's back, we might be captain Salah at this rate anyway, the way it's going. Yeah, I think Salah, best alternative if someone's not there for any
Um,
reason.
Saka maybe
Yeah, I mean,
or Bowen,
even
Watkins.
Watkins, Brentford are
Yeah,
short of players as well at the
yeah,
moment. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a shame a few of them aren't on Saturday actually to make it a bit more of a debate, I think. Because I think there's a few
Well,
good ones Sunday that I wouldn't
well,
overlook Salah.
there's good reason why they're all on Sunday this week.
You go on in.
Yeah, they all play on Thursday.
That's every single one of them, actually, isn't it? So yeah,
Yeah,
Sky have not
yeah.
done the usual. Well, we'll throw something else in there just for the crack, just to add to the two
They've picked the
o'clock
worst game
mayhem.
though, haven't they?
I've dug West Ham out for this 2 o'clock Sunday business. There's the third one they've had. Everton,
Yeah,
Palace, and Wolves. So, and
yeah.
people always go, "Hey, it's about the quota." No, sorry, I'm not having
No,
that. It
not
doesn't
this
wash
time. It ain't.
actually. No,
It isn't. No quota in this at all.
I'm
The
not happy
only
about
reason
West
they've
Ham
done it,
Wolves over Arsenal Brighton. Not happy about
yeah,
that.
it's because of Arsenal Brighton. They don't want to waste a pick on that
Why not?
because they want one later in the year.
What do you mean by that?
Um, they're only allowed to have so many picks in each of these slots.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So if Arsenal get towards the business stage of the season and they've used a pick on Arsenal v Brighton now, that's one less that they can use in May.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what, they
So
never
they'd
pick
rather
Arsenal for a 2 o'clock kickoff?
yeah, so they'd rather not pick it now to give them the option later on in the season. Because people aren't going to moan about suffering through West Ham v Wolves when they've got Liverpool v Man United coming up afterwards.
I get that, but then they've just stuck City Luton in that slot, which you didn't need to do, right?
That's more to do with getting Luton fixtures out of the way at home this early in the season when it's still relevant.
Okay, fair enough. Would probably rather had Everton Chelsea Sunday as well. Not bothered about that either. Okay. I think that's it for Captaincy. Brighton we need to cover.
Yeah.
Are you already on something or do you need to
No,
invest?
I'm moving on Sunday. And I'll tell you who I'm moving on. Because when I had Turner and I can't remember who else I had, but I had to make a keeper move and I bought Pope and I needed a cheap player. And I can't remember who I got rid of, and I bought in Lascelles. because he was one I could afford. So Lascelles to Pascal Gross is working for me on Sunday.
If we got to the weekend and Botman was still well, we don't know what's happening. Is there a temptation to do something else?
No, I'm moving it anyway.
Definitely the sales.
Definitely Lascelles is going, and definitely Gross is coming in. And it's one of the reasons why I brought Romero back last Thursday to give me the extra defender. Because without doing that, I couldn't shift Lascelles to anybody but a defender.
If Romero gets booked Friday, do you move that? Because there's a load of teams who'll play 3 times before he plays again.
I might be tempted to move it and not go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look at that. Hadn't given that much thought, to be honest. But yeah, it's a fair point.
That's nearly all teams, bar obviously Tottenham themselves, Arsenal, Brighton, West Ham. Every other team plays 3 times if he gets booked Friday night. So, I mean, if you've got the other cover from Tottenham captaincy perspective, and then this is the one single game day. Arsenal cover the last 2 as well.
Yeah, they do.
You don't need it back. So
yeah,
that might be a different solution for you if you have the booking there, mate. But you know he won't do that. He'll prick tease you and get puts like against Everton instead or against Brighton. Brighton is the game we can't do without him. So I don't want him to get booked against Everton particularly. I could live with him getting booked against Forest, not against Everton, please. Christian, calm yourself down, please. So it's gross for you, yeah?
Yeah, gross for me, yeah.
What would you, and it's going to be gross for me as well. I mean, it's clear as, and it does leave you reflecting if we've overhyped Lewis Dunk all season when this guy is capable of a little bit of everything, and Dunk's just not getting the clean sheets to go with the inevitable passing tiers. What would you say to someone other than buy Gross? If someone said to you, I've got to buy a defender and I can only go for Lewis Dunk, like what do you say to them? Do it?
Best of British. You've got to do it Sunday, haven't you, and hope for the best.
He's obviously on the 4 yellows. That would be
Yeah.
such a sickener if you buy him on Sunday
Yeah.
and he misses Palace.
Well, the other thing to do is go for Van Heck.
Well,
instead.
This is why I'd mentioned him earlier. Yeah,
same amount of passes. Well, if not the same amount, at least into 70 plus, and he's playing every game. Same chance of a clean sheet.
He's 6.7. He has started all of the last 6. He didn't pick up a passing tier against Brentford somewhat bizarrely. I don't recall if maybe he might have gone off early, but he's tier 2 passing all the rest of the 5. But you could buy him Sunday, and obviously you'll see the team. He easily could play Arsenal and not play Palace, couldn't he? He could go Duncan, Julio at Palace, or Webster might be back. It sounds like Webster won't be. But he could easily go Duncan, Julio at Palace, couldn't he?
Yes, I mean De Zerbi's a bit of a nightmare for selectors now, isn't he? You can never guarantee who's going to play.
And this is why really Duncan, Gross, and I think Mitoma on odd occasion are the only ones that really can be considered because of this. And that 4 yellow card, I could not bear to buy him, and he got booked at Arsenal. And let's be honest,
horrible, wouldn't it?
In a fixture like that, there's every chance he does and misses Palace. Then even if Palace, there's every chance he gets booked at Palace because they hate each other, and then maybe misses Tottenham. And in which case, then you're in the same situation and you're having to sell him again. It's definitely Pascal Gross here, isn't it?
Yeah, and me. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the team of the season so far, Pascal Gross gets in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of us have been missing this.
We have, yeah.
And I think there's a decision to make on the other side of Overhaul, unless we see some improvements from Brighton in the next couple of weeks, to say, should we be going Gross rather than Dunk?
Yeah, that's another thing fixture-wise as well. That weekend after what they've announced, you could well see Brighton v Palace Monday Night Football.
Are they going to do that again?
Almost certainly.
Even though they've put it on the Thursday, Ian.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Thrilled.
Yeah, I know.
Mind you, from a Sky perspective, there's worse ones they can pick.
There definitely is. The worst game I remember that they ever picked on I think it was Amazon that got shafted, and instead of being able to see Liverpool v Everton on the Tuesday night, everybody sat through Leeds v Palace, and it was one of the most diabolical games.
I remember that. Didn't we all have Rafinha and he scored a penalty in the last minute? Is that right?
Yeah, that was it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happier times. Rafinha was a a good,
Oh, it's a
memorable
class
Sky
player.
asset, actually.
Class
Yeah.
player,
Did
yeah.
you skip Fulham Wolves, by the way, or did you get something?
Skipped.
You
Fair
skipped.
play to those that went Huang or Kunar. Very, very impressive.
Actually, to be fair, nearly every Fulham player returned that night, near enough. I think, except Jimenez, and he's
And he's
now
on
on a
fire now.
he's now unbelievably on a good little run since, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, before we let you go, Ian, let's do some questions.
Go on then.
Addy Tor says, any good striker replacements for Haaland if you're in a 3-5-2 and got, say, Watkins as your other forward? You wouldn't buy Alvarez this week, would you? I know you did last
No,
week. You wouldn't buy
won't
him
buy
this
Alvarez
week.
this week.
So,
I'd probably go Solanke,
yeah.
or I'd turn it into a 4-5-1 and get Trent or Van Dijk.
Yeah, arguably prefer that under
You don't
this
you don't have to
format.
stick 3-5-2, do you? You can turn it into a 4-5-1.
Do you think there's ever anything in that as well, in the sense of waiting for the Sunday to make a decision? Say you got a 50-50 call, and I know it's like Solanke versus Trent isn't really a good 50-50 call, but one's playing Saturday, one's playing Sunday. Would you ever be close enough in opinion? You think, oh, will I wait the extra day? Because if I pick up another problem on Saturday,
I can do
then
something else.
yeah. Do you ever think like that? I have a couple of
Yeah,
times recently.
yeah, can do that. Yeah, yeah.
Julian Wardle says, we're now at the equivalent stage of last season's World Cup break. Engaged players have, I'd say, used between 6 to 10 more transfers than at break last season. With no royal funerals, touch wood, rail strike rearrangements, yeah, we might still get them. Just League and FA Cup blanks to rearrange. Would you agree that a slightly less transfer count is acceptable due to not as much opportunity for gains as previous seasons?
So it says 6 to 10 more used. So this time last year, I think I'd used 10 only. So if I'd used, say, 8 more than that, I'd be on 32 instead of 40. So
Mm,
that's that'd be 20% of what I had in the bank. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair comment if there's going to be less disruption. But I've said on pretty much every pod I've ever been on, there's no such thing as too many transfers at the back end.
quite
I
agree with
ran
that,
out
mate.
last year when it was Liverpool v Southampton. Didn't have a captain. Couldn't get a player in. Ran out of transfers.
FPL Wingman says around 1,300 with 31 transfers left. What is a realistic chance of being in the race by the end of the season?
If it's on about the race for winning, I think he's probably got to do everything pretty much top draw from now till the end. But race for the top 100, that kind of positions are easily workable.
It also adds this is big captain. She shouts like Haaland currently, but also Son and Salah being absent soon would make now the safest time to go rogue with differential captaincy punts. It's probably more when they're away, isn't it? I think after overhaul.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd be inclined to this time of year, big players, big teams. They're your captains. I think
Uh,
most of the days over Christmas and New Year, they've got the big teams playing, haven't they?
yeah. Luther Valentine's asked about two players. One we've covered, but one we haven't. Bruno Fernandes.
Oh dear me, the lesser spotted Bruno, banned for Sunday, didn't he?
Well, yeah. So he is suspended for that. So is that a move on?
We moved him on ages ago.
Well, there is that, but hindsight and all
Okay,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Probably. Who would I go to though? Who would I
Well,
go to? If
it's the same decision as the Haaland one, really. It's not a million miles off money wise, is it? If you're saying maybe Trent for like Haaland,
yeah,
same sort of choice, really, isn't it? I
yeah.
think.
So you're getting 4 games. Man United have got 3. Well, Bruno would have 3. I suppose you pick whoever you like.
I think if it had to be a midfielder, one that maybe not everyone's got, I'd possibly give you Jared Bowen. I think it's a decent shout in
Yeah,
that situation, particularly because that last one against Brighton
gives
as
you West
well.
Ham v Brighton as well. Yeah, that's at West Ham, isn't it? So that might even be the best captaincy that day.
Yeah, you're going straight into Wolves as well. So United Arsenal in the middle was not brilliant, but United might be, I mean,
Yeah.
God knows by the time Wolves turns up. Arsenal way is not great, but he'll have some space on the counter. Ian LeBruce says, this is my first season playing, so I'm wondering on what point is too close to the overhaul to be making transfers. Have you got kind of are we looking at Everton City maybe as like that's it, cut it, or
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it after that, I don't think, because there's only one game left for everybody after that, isn't there? Well, some are playing on a Thursday that week and then playing on Sunday, aren't
yeah, so I mean
they?
technically it's
Yeah,
still three
you'd
for
want
ones,
two
but
games, wouldn't you? You'd want two games, one as a captain.
yeah, I think so. I think with that Thursday night, it's probably, Tottenham are at Brighton,
Yeah, and
considering
it's Arsenal v West Ham,
Arsenal,
isn't it?
West Ham. I mean,
Yeah,
the chances are going to that night with coverage from all four teams. So I'm struggling to believe someone's going to land there unless they're desperately unlucky and not have something that night that's
yeah. I
okay.
mean, all of those fixtures have worked out well this time, haven't they? You've got the Forest v Tottenham this week. Wolves v Chelsea might be a bit touch and go, depends on who you've got and the yellow cards and injury situation. But every other day's covered, isn't it? There's nothing there untoward at all.
Yeah, I think you cut off, particularly if you're going back for Haaland on that Wednesday night.
Yeah,
It's
I think that'll be
fine.
popular. Did you see his
Of course it will.
ownership now?
I haven't looked actually, to
50
be honest, Ian.
down to 52% in the top
My
1K.
goodness.
Yeah, and Alvarez
My
went up to 37.
goodness. Do you know what you can do with my FPL team? You can stick it up its arse, get him fit for Saturday so I can captain him. Honestly, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I understand it, by the way, because I'd made the decision to move just then the player I wanted wasn't available. So I get it. That
it might
could
be
be
squeaky.
could be defining if he turns up
Yeah,
Saturday.
if he turns
Um,
up, yeah.
he scored a hat trick in the corresponding fixture last season. Just saying, but I agree. I don't think you buy him back.
I'm not, definitely not. I've made the bag got light in
I
now.
mean for Saturday, just to clarify, for the Everton
Yeah,
bit, I
yeah,
get,
different
if it's going to
story.
be
Yeah,
two captaincies, I obviously
yeah,
get that
yeah,
completely.
yeah.
Mark SkyFF, this is an interesting one. Says, would you keep Colwell in your team, Levi Colwell, captain him for the game against Wolves? I've held him all season. Feels like I've missed the opportunity to ditch him. He's my only Chelsea player, and I have 31 transfers left.
I think I'll be keeping him now. James is injured, isn't he? So we get Cucurella on the right, probably.
Not necessarily,
Or
because he's a doubt as well.
oh right, okay.
And the only thing is, if he plays left back, he ain't going to hit the tiers, is he, Ian? That's the only thing.
No, no, but you're getting twice the points. Hope for a clean sheet, isn't it?
I think if you've kept all this time,
Now it's not
can't
the time to get rid of
really
him.
see the reason
No,
to move that
no. And where would you
now
go?
to something on Sunday, I suppose. I mean, if he hasn't got Palace Brighton coverage, then he's got
Yeah,
four at the back,
possibly.
Colwell into Gross or something. Like I'd get
Yeah.
that sort of move. Colombo says, I made a schoolboy error and forgot to transfer out Areola for Sanchez. Lucky devil.
That's
However,
lucky.
as things turned out, it wasn't so bad with Sanchez going off injured. Would you keep Areola, especially with a single game day coming up, or bring in a better scoring keeper such as Martinez? If Areola's fit, you stay now, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, you'll know, won't you? If you're going to go for Martinez, they both kick off at the same time anyway.
Yeah, there is that. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I think obviously Sarr is
Other options
another.
to look at Saar
Yeah,
if you need some coverage.
yeah.
Are we thinking
Brighton, you
Areola's
can't.
back? He had a dodgy wrist, didn't he?
Yeah, Moyes is always kind of bats quite close, but he does tend to, if someone's bad, he will tend to say we're going to be like with Antonio, like we're going to be without him
Yeah.
probably till Christmas and stuff like that. So I suspect he probably is close.
Okay. Let's see the team. Maybe if he's on the bench on Thursday, because Flappy normally plays in the Europa League, doesn't it?
Yes.
So if Ariola's on the bench on Thursday, then it's a sign he's back for Sunday.
I'd bet he wouldn't do that just to not give the game away because although he does tend to say if someone's out long term, he does rock up every week and go, well, we've got a couple of bumps and bruises. We'll
Yeah,
check him out. He's one of them,
yeah,
isn't he? So
yeah.
I,
It doesn't
I
Eddie
bet
Howe.
I bet he wouldn't give anything away with that on Thursday night. You'll either see him Sunday or you won't.
Are they through
Um,
West Ham?
they're through, but they still need a result to win the group,
Yeah,
which is
so
quite
make sure.
important because you jump two games
Yeah,
if you win the group. Full on frenzy says if Haaland is out, would it be worthwhile going back to Dunk?
oh dear me. No, gross.
What if you got five in midfield though? If you're in a 3-5-2 and then you You want to go Palace Brighton? That's awful,
Ooh.
isn't it?
No, that's bad news. I I couldn't. I think I'd go Van Heck instead if he's playing.
It's just as likely, Ian, that he's on the bench at Palace, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
Oh
think I
dear
think if I
me.
had to choose Dunk or Van Heck,
You'd hope Dunk won't get the yellow.
yeah, I'd go that route. Yeah, that's
Okay.
awful. Can I be honest? What I'd do in that situation, I'd make two transfers.
Okay.
I'd make
Yeah.
two transfers. I'd go something to Trent or something to Watkins and
Yeah.
get Gross in.
Yeah.
That's the way around it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fair point. No. Good shout.
Um, and we'll finish with this one from Craig Morris because that is specifically for you, Ian. Says, we all know Ian likes to hold his transfers. Would he rather be ranked 700 with 32 transfers left or 2.1 thousand with an extra five transfers left, so 37?
Okay. Now I had a sneaky look at this earlier.
That
So
don't surprise me with you.
there's 40 points difference between 700th and 2100th. I think it's about 1350 for 700th and 1310 for 2100th. So 40 points difference, five transfers, eight transfers in it. I'm going to give a double-edged answer. If my team was set, I'd rather be 700th. If I needed to make moves between now and Overhaul, I'd rather have the transfers in the back that I could use them with.
What a bottle job, but a good answer, mate. I like it all the same. Craig, basically, what Ian said to you is because we know really this is your first and your second team, mate. You're doing grand. Crack on, mate. Good
Oh, fair play.
stuff.
I didn't realise that.
No, mate, I don't know that. I'm guessing why else would you ask that question so
That's a good
specifically?
point. Yeah,
It's got to
yeah,
be
good
his
point.
first and
Yeah.
second teams, doesn't it?
Well,
Got
in that case, he's got two good chances there, hasn't
Yes, is doing very, very well. By the way, Suj did mention one of the pods there anyway. He jumped back up to 6K or something, and he was very excited. So, all right,
he? Oh, wow.
boss.
Fair play,
Hope you
Serge.
hope you're enjoying yourself. You've been much
Has he
missed.
missed any captaincies this year?
See you next week. I don't think he has, not for a
Wow.
while. He's
Well, fair play.
he's been on it recently. I think
Good.
this Christmas is going to cock something up, though, isn't it? It's inevitable. Gets out of bed at 1 o'clock on Boxing Day or something.
Yeah, games are all started, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Ian, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, my man. Anything
Oh,
you
you're
want to
welcome.
plug before you leave us, mate?
Just the usual stuff. You find me on Twitter. Still can't get round to calling it X at
Same.
Plan It's Sky. And you'll also see me doing the transfer planners for Fantasy Football Hub. You'll find me there as well.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, my friend. Give Fergie and Paul a shout when you speak to them as well.
Absolutely.
Where's my invite, lads? You came on mine. Where's my invite? Fergie, when you're going short, yeah, sometime give us a call. I need notice though. None of this. Can you come on in an hour? Kind of jazz shit, mate. I love you, mate. And Fergie, you Spurs. Sorted now. We'll be all right now, buddy. Ian, thank you so much, mate. What have I got for you left this week? Vote will be out for tomorrow's podcast later today. And at time recording, I haven't decided what that is. So I can't tell yet, but I'll be honest, it probably will be FPL related. I'll be streaming early Friday morning as a Friday deadline as well. So if you want to come and ask some Sky questions on that stream Friday morning, you're more than welcome to as well. If you want to support the show, it's obviously www.patreon.com/planetfpl. And I imagine Suj will be back with me for the Sky Fantasy podcast next Wednesday. On that note as well, we are intending currently to do a Sky podcast on Wednesday, the 27th of December during the break as well. Which leaves me to say thanks again so much to Ian. Have a great week, everyone. Good luck. Cue music, please, man child.